Hello, my name is Chef Reese. I am the executive chef at Mount Carmel, New Albany Surgical Hospital, and today I'll be showing you how to do an easy bean salad. Okay, to start, for our easy bean salad, we're going to start with the dressing. I've got some simple ingredients here, some apple cider vinegar, a blended oil of canola and extra virgin olive oil, black pepper, salt, dry oregano, honey, and Dijon mustard. These are the core things we'll need to make our salad dressing. So to start, what we're going to do is we're going to add our vinegar right to the bowl. From there, we're going to slowly, I'm going to tell you about emulsification. So emulsification or emulsifying is when you're taking something and pretty much just adding air to it. So I've got a very fine wire whisk here, and I'm going to whisk the vinegar while adding slowly at a time the oil. And this is a process for a basic vinaigrette. You can add the drier ingredients, the black pepper, the salt, the dry oregano. But I like to do it like this just because I like to see the consistency I'm at before I add everything else. Because you'll see where this gets to, and then you'll add your Dijon mustard and of course your honey. And once you're comfortable, and it's getting to a point where it's getting darker and it's starting to hold together, because you know oil and vinegar don't mix, but we're trying to get that. That's why we're adding air. Think of air as like the binder. So once we start with that and we get to a point where we're comfortable with it, you can start adding more and just go in with it. I'm going to add my dry oregano at this point. Your arm's going to get a workout if you didn't know that. Or if you're not used to this, you can do this in a blender. You can use a burr mixer. It's like a small stick that has a blender on the end of it. You put that in there, it works the same way. You'll get your results a little bit faster from that point too. From here, I'm going to add my Dijon mustard. I'm going to start with just a tablespoon. This will help give it some body. And you'll see it'll kind of look kind of stringy at first, but keep whisking and it will get incorporated into it. And from here, I'm going to add my honey. Now, I have some spoons here. Always try to taste what you're making. That way you know that it's good and before you serve everyone else. So it's good right now, but needs a little salt. And this is just plain kosher salt. You can use sea salt, Himalayan salt, whatever works for you. And from there, we've got our vinaigrette. Okay, now that we've made our dressing, I've set some of it aside just because I don't want to oversaturate the salad. So I put the dressing aside and I'm going to show you some of the core ingredients that we're going to be using in our bean salad. So to start, we do have some corn in this salad. You can use fresh, canned, or frozen. I'm using frozen today. When you're using frozen, know that you don't have to cook it, but I would let it thaw. If you want to thaw it properly, under cold water is the best way to do that. Canned corn, also very good. If you're going to use that, I recommend rinsing off the brine that it comes in. And if you're going to use whole, fresh corn, best way to do it, I like to get like a bowl, similar to this. Put the corn that's shucked right into it, and then just cut down the sides of the corn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just cut all 4 sides down into it. If you're going to do that, I toss in a little bit of oil, salt, pepper. You can either saute it in a pan. If you're going to do that, put a lid on it. Otherwise, you'll have stuff popping out at you, and you don't want that. Or you can roast it in the oven. All those options work great. So to begin with that, I've got our corn here. I'm just going to add it to the bowl that we had our dressing in. Also, I'm using exclusively chickpeas or garbanzo beans. I just think they have a good flavor, but don't let that hold you back from trying other beans, black beans, pinto beans, Great Northern beans. There's a ton of them. Black eyed peas if you're feeling frisky. But those all come in kidney beans. I brought some of those today too. Anyway, if you're going to use those, be sure to wash those off as well, just because they also come in a brine. And you want to get that flavor off of it before you add it to something where you're creating new flavors with it. So I'm going to show you me rinsing these off right now. All I have is a simple strainer in my sink. Best thing to do, pour these in to the strainer, turn the water on, and just let it rinse over it. A little bit more. Next, we're going to be continuing with the bulk of our salad by adding more vegetables to it. So I'm going to start with a red onion. I chose a red onion just because when it comes to salads, I think they have more flavor. Yeah, it is a little bit stronger, but that's just my personal preference. If you want to use a Spanish onion, a sweet onion, please help yourself. Those are both very good options. I'm also going to demonstrate julienning this onion. Whenever I think of salads, I think of like keeping the bites similar. So I wanted something that's easy to get with a fork as opposed to something that's diced up that can be, it works better in like stews and soups and that sort of thing. So I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. So you have your onion, root side, plant side. Never cut off the root side. If you do, the onion will bleed more and you'll cry more. Nobody wants that. Also, I have a good chef's knife. Use what you're comfortable with. I always preach that just because you're going to be using something that's sharp and you want to be comfortable because, you don't want to cut yourself. They say it's more dangerous to cut with a dull knife than it is a sharp knife. If you don't get that, then, start with a serrated knife or a butter knife or something like that. So I cut off the plant end, left the root end intact. And then from here, usually there's most onions are like this. They'll have like a thin layer and you could just peel that off. They'll kind of like bananas almost in a sense where they'll be like bruised. So once you peel it off, you'll see that it's real sheen and this is exactly what you want. So I've evened it up and from here, I'm left-handed, so I'm holding with my left hand and I'm cutting with my right hand. And I'm just cutting right across from there. Real nice. And if you want them smaller, then just cut that part in half. And there you go. Okay, now that we've sliced up our onion, I've added it to our bowl with our corn and our chickpeas. So next I'm going to show you how to de-seed a cucumber. So again, sharp knife, and what I cut off the ends. My wife hates this just because she thinks it's wasteful, but I eat that, it's just for me. So from there, I cut up the ends off just because I want something that works, it just works better for me. Let's just say that. So begin by cutting your cucumber right in half. So from there you see your two halves. And you can see where now this is an English cucumber. When you have like a regular cucumber, it'll be the same, the membrane will be the same. So I would recommend using a spoon, the hook of a ladle. I couldn't find any of those things with me. I forgot to bring some. But what I found were some little serving tongs. So this part right here, this little part right here, I am going to pull right through. And then from there, again, I'm going to stick with my theme of I like things to be bite-sized. So I'm just going to just do the half moons. And from there, I'm just going to add it to my bowl. There you go. Okay, continuing with our salad, I'm going to show you how to cut up a red bell pepper. I don't know why, but these are my favorite things to slice, dice. I don't know why, but I'm going to show you how I do it today. Some people will cut around the stem and take that out. You can do that. What I like to do is I will cut off the end, reserve it. You can keep that there, and then I'll stand it up. Try to do this anytime you're cutting anything. Potatoes, cucumbers, carrots, whatever, bell peppers, just because it gives you a platform to be secure. You see that it's kind of segmented. So here's a section, here's a section, here's a section. So I try to cut with those segments. Usually, sometimes you can get 3, looks like I'm going to get 4 today, and set that aside. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think one of the reasons that I liked cutting bell peppers when I first started cooking is you always had to do a brunoise. A brunoise is a type of cut that's like real fine. You use it for garnishes and soups and stuff like that. But we're going to put it in our salad today, but I'm just going to do a julienne. So for this, what you're going to do is, well, I was going to show you something else, but I had it in my mind. But we're just going to keep it simple today. So just a julienne on this. You've given yourself, again, flat surface. It's not moving anywhere. And I'm just going to, if you're uncomfortable putting the knife against your fingers and cutting like that, depends on where you want to go with it. If you want to be more comfortable with it, take your time, do it slowly. I still know chefs who can't do that, and so I feel good when I know that I can. But if you don't, just stay away from it. You can still, you want a rocking motion, and then you'll get used to it. So I'm adding our peppers to our bowl with our salad. I'm always scared to use this knife, and I think I mentioned this before. This is a knife that was given to me by my father-in-law. I don't know his intentions when he gave it to me, but it must have been good because it's a good knife. So, all right, so there's our pepper. And from there, we're gonna have some, I have some fresh, this is curly parsley. So curly parsley, there's not a lot of flavor in the stem. So what I like to do is just take a bunch. You can either pull off the leaves individually or just take a bunch, pull it off. And the best thing to do again is to just put it in a ball. Get comfortable. And that'll chop up your parsley. And then you can, this can be as chunky or as fine as you'd like it to be. I like mine to be a little bit more finer, but this is a salad and you're tasting all those things. So if you wanted to keep it chunky, that's okay too. Okay, so we're gonna finish up our salad. I've already added all the other ingredients in here. I've added my red onion, my corn, my red pepper, cucumbers. I'm gonna add my chopped parsley in here. And then I'm going to, the vinaigrette that I reserved, I'm going to add that in there and toss it. I put a glove on just because I like tossing with my hand. You can use a spoon, you can just swirl it around, whatever works for you. While I'm doing that, I want to let you know that this recipe is a vehicle for so many variations of things you can do. So if you wanted to add, take out the, like I've mentioned earlier, if you wanted to change the onion, if you wanted to change the pepper, if you wanted to add cauliflower, zucchini, any of those things, add it to it. If you're feeling like, hey, I want to be more seasonal, I've got these warm spices, these dry herbs that I want to try to add it to your vinaigrette. Mix those in so that like you're incorporating the flavors that work for you. Also, this is a very good salad, and you can add, we have 1 bean in here, you can add more beans, which we talked to earlier. Or if you wanted to add something like, I don't know, a quinoa or a couscous, or even like a bed of rice, do that. The sky's the limit when it comes to this stuff for you. So, and you want it to be you. You want to have your personal feel into what you're making. So that's our salad. Make it at home. Let us know how it is.
Hi, my name is Amy Shea, and I'm nutrition faculty with the College of Nursing. So today I wanted to talk about the nutritional aspects of the easy bean salad, which you just saw presented by Chef Reese. So first, some ideas on this recipe. You can certainly add more vegetables. It has corn, beans, onions, cucumbers, peppers, but again, be creative and add as many vegetables as you want. You could try carrots, you could try broccoli, cauliflower, even some thinly sliced zucchini might be delicious. Another idea would be to add avocado on top of the salad for an extra boost in nutrition. And you could also serve the bean salad over a bed of greens, or you could serve it with a side of brown rice or a side of quinoa, and that would make a nice complete meal. So a lot of options. It's a very easy salad to make. And in the video, you saw that Chef Reese just used canned chickpeas. And chickpeas are great, but keep in mind that you can add other beans as well. So if you wanted to mix chickpeas and black beans and kidney beans or pinto beans, whatever you want to do, all of that would be delicious in this recipe. So really use your creativity and try out different things. Now let's talk a little bit more about canned beans and other ways of using beans. So when you're purchasing canned beans, that's a great option. It's a quick, easy option, generally a cheap protein source. But keep in mind with the canned foods, they can contain a lot of salt. So you want to make sure that you're rinsing your beans thoroughly until the water runs clear. So you'll see that it starts to look foamy when you first dump the beans out into your colander. So make sure you're rinsing all the way through until the water's clear, and that helps get rid of a lot of the salt. Another option would be to try dried beans, really cheap, easy option. It does take a bit more time to prepare dried beans. You have to soak them and cook them for a little bit longer, but it's a great way to make a big batch of beans, and then you can freeze them in individual containers and add them to recipes later on. So check that out. Really two great options for incorporating beans into your diet. Now let's talk about the nutrition of beans. So if you look on the side, you can see that beans provide a ton of great nutrition. Not a lot of calories, but look at all of the vitamins and minerals provided by beans. Another great thing that I've already said, an awesome source of protein. So you can see on the slide the amount of protein provided by the beans. And then another option, or another good quality of beans, is that they contain a lot of dietary fiber. And fiber is beneficial for so many different reasons. So if we look at this slide, it continues the discussion about the heart health benefits of beans and all the wonderful things that they do for our body. So again, I told you already that beans are a cheap source of protein, but also because of the fiber and the protein, they really provide a lot of benefits for your health. So the fiber actually helps to lower cholesterol. So if you're worried about your heart health and bad cholesterol levels, the fiber can help decrease that. And fiber also helps to maintain blood sugar levels. So if you have diabetes or you're concerned about your blood sugar, that's something to keep in mind. The fiber in beans is really beneficial. So you can see other points on the slide, including that beans also help to balance blood pressure. So if you have elevated blood pressure or hypertension, beans can be helpful to treat that as well. So you can review the slide and see all of the heart healthy benefits of choosing beans.